So I'm going to talk a little bit about video journalism. The word video journalism means different things for different people. It means something for me. It means something else for the manager of a major network. So I'm going to talk about what it means to me. And in short, what it means to me is it's kind of a merger of television news, documentary, filmmaking, and photojournalism. And it takes a little bit of both, a little bit of all those elements, and creates somewhat of a new form of storytelling, at least in my humble opinion. My background is I started as a still photographer. I went to school at Missouri, got a degree in journalism and photojournalism. And so I started at the Post in 1999. In the good old days when we could produce a web video and put it up and no one would know about it, not even my own editor would know about it, because if he found out about it, he would try to watch it. And if he watched it, he would crash his computer. And that way, he would call tech support and then no more playing around with web video. So web video was kind of a nuisance then. Luckily by 2000, but it was also, at the same time, it was a good time to learn how to do web video because no one was watching. I mean, not my editor or viewers, no one. So it's good to make all the mistakes then and you get them out of your system. And then by the time people started watching, I knew a little bit better about what to do. So by 2003, by the Iraq invasion, people started to watch, and that's when they sent me to Iraq to cover the invasion. And at that point, that's when the top editors of the newspaper, the Washington Post, watched it for the first time and said, "Oh, shoot, we do web video, and this is journalism. It's not just bells and whistles," which I think is what they thought about talking to that. So then, since 2003, since the Iraq invasion, I've been able to do a whole host of different things all around the world, which I'll show you and tell you about today, and maybe even tell some more stories if you humor me. So, video journalist. It's the combination of TV, documentary, and photojournalism. The other important element is that it's done by one person. And this is probably, well, not necessarily, in terms of the definition of video journalist. It's done by one person. It's one person's vision. It's one person creating it. That means shooting, reporting, and editing. So that's very key. So it's produced like newspaper journalism is produced. Somebody goes out, reports, takes notes, and comes back to the office and writes a story. It's the same thing with video journalism. The camera is the notepad, the editing is the writing. Okay? Television has a very different tradition, I think we all know. There's several examples of video journalists in television, many that do it very well. But traditionally, television is produced with a crew: a reporter, a cameraman, soundman, producer sometimes, an editor as well. So it's a different model. So in terms of my thinking, the one-man band gives me, let me phrase it this way. I think from management's perspective, it allows them to save money because it's one person instead of four, or three or two. So for example, a local TV crew might do 3 or 4 stories a day. Well, if it's a video journalist, and they could produce twice as many stories. You get my math, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I take it the opposite, and this is how I convince my editors. I said, well, I'm a video journalist, and it's only one of me. So my travel expenses are half of what they typically should be, or if it's a network crew, a quarter of what they should be. Therefore, I should have that much more time to work on stories. Because I think, as we all know, there's no substitute for time when you're doing journalism. You need time. You need time with your subjects. Especially with video, you need time to cultivate subjects. You need time in the field to get all the information that you need. So I would spin it the other way. I said, hey, it's just me. I can do, many things. Therefore, give me more time to do stories. And for the most part, my editors bought that argument because it was true. I believe that. So, for the Post, I was doing, in addition to doing video, I was writing articles on occasion for the newspaper, and then I was pulling frame grabs from the video to use in the newspaper as well as pictures. So again, one person can do all of those things if they give me the time, and that's really key. Because you can't do all of those things in the same time frame as one person in most news events.